Welcome to the Close to My Heart Twisted Sisters YouTube hop. My name is Sandy Zimmer. I'm a Close to My Heart maker from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Today I will be twisting up one of our National Scrapbooking Day specials called Many Wishes. This is a card kit that comes with papers and card bases and an exclusive stamp set and an exclusive stencil set. So the photos that you're seeing right now are of sort of the way that it was designed to be used. And I'm going to show you how to use some liquid pearls and the stencil for a creative shimmery effect as well. So let's get started. So here you'll see that I've used some washi tape to hold down my stencil on my 4x5 1/4 white daisy cardstock. And I'm just using a water brush and I'm just quickly painting in that stencil from the top and working my way down. Now I have sped this up a little bit and I'm not going to bore you with watching every brush stroke. So it will zoom out for a little bit here and then I'll come back and show you the rest of it. But basically you're just taking those colors and you're just putting them in there and painting. So this is the Ballerina liquid pearls that I'm using, Z6728. And again, as I said, I'm working from the top down. Now I'm adding the Dazzle. This is the Z3797. And I'm swishing it out on my all-purpose mat here. And then again, I'm working from the bottom up. So I'm sort of blending those two colors together a little bit. But of course, this Dazzle is going to be a little darker at the base and it will fade out into the lighter color of the Ballerina. And so when you do this, you can do this on white cardstock. You can do it on black cardstock. And you'll see later on in my video here that I have done it on some black cardstock and it's beautiful. So sometimes, depending on your cardstock, you might have to add a couple of layers. And of course, you want to let it dry in between as well so that you get a really nice coverage. I don't recommend heat setting it. I like the natural look of the dry. Sometimes when you heat set it, it will bubble a little bit. So I find it's best to just take that stencil off and just let it dry off to the side. So you'll see that I pull it off here and I hold it up a little bit so that you can see how that looks. And you do want to wipe off your stencil. I didn't do a great job of it because I was going to do it again right away anyway. So now you can see that I'm taping this down again. And this is the second part that has the leaves on it. So I'm squishing out a little bit of that sage, the Z3794, and I'm painting those leaves in. Now I'm just using the sage for this part, so it's going pretty quickly. I'm not worried about really blending them together or anything like that. And the middle part is covered up with a stencil, so if I happen to accidentally paint over the center part with my green like that, it doesn't affect my finished product at all because it's on the plastic of the stencil. So it's kind of a foolproof process, to be quite honest. And I think it turns out just beautifully. So there you go, and you can see that part as well. So here I'm just demonstrating what we would normally do with liquid pearls. I think most people, when they think of liquid pearls, think of those dots. So I'm just making some dots in that stencil as well and filling that area in. So I'm sort of going around the opening of the stencil first just to make sure that I've created a pretty good line there. And then I just go back in and fill the dots in. And again, once I peel that stencil off, I'm just going to let that dry naturally. I'm not going to heat set it. And then once it's dry, I can go back in later and I can do the leaves. So it's kind of fun because you can do different colors. And, you know, if you wanted to, you could do, again, the middle a little darker and then the outer part a little lighter. So you'll see it in a little bit here once I pull that off, how that works. Pardon me. So in the description at the end here, I will list all the products I used and my website. So you can go on to sandyzim.closetomyheart.ca and purchase these products there. So there we go. There's the finished product. And apologies, I'm kind of a little off camera there, but I think you get the gist of it. Now for this one, what I'm doing is I'm using the Decorative Texture Background, and it's meant as a thin cut. I'm layering my paper on top of it, and then my stencil, and I'm just grabbing a pencil crayon, and I'm kind of creating that rub effect that, I don't know about you, but I learned to do as a kid. And so I'm just putting that on there and rubbing it. And so of course the raised part is going to get a little darker and the lower part's going to be a little lighter. So you're going to see the texture kind of come through, but when you touch that paper at the end, it's all one-dimensional. So it's pretty neat. That's a little bit of a trick there. So I'm going in now with the purple, and I'm just doing my second flower with the purple, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And then again, you'll see in a little bit, I'll just lift that stencil off and show you the finished product. And then again, you can layer the leaf part over top and just do the same thing with the leaves. Now you could also do this with an embossing folder. You could open up an embossing folder that has a neat pattern on it and do that same rub technique with that. So there you go. You can sort of see that there, and you'll see it a little bit better. There we go. And I also show you a finished card with it as well. So again, like I said, here I am doing the green. And you could do, you know, a couple of different shades of green or purples and blues as well. It's best if we use our pencil crayons, pardon me, because if we use our markers, we can't push hard enough to get that texture to show. So you really need something that will rub up against it. So I love this technique. I think it's pretty cool. And you could go over it a couple of times if you wanted to. But again, there you go. You can see the texture show up. Now, this is the stamp set, the Many Wishes. So it's CC3228. And it has some great sentiments on it. So it's got sending you lots of love, thank you, many thanks, birthday wishes, congratulations, condolences, thinking of you, happy birthday, wishing you well, best wishes, celebrate, happy anniversary, and much love. And so you'll see with this one that our stamps are quite pliable. So I'm just bending it here, and I'm hoping that I'm on screen so that you can see the whole process. I'm bending it so that it goes around that flower a little bit. So once I stamp it on there, you're going to see the finished product. And I'm using the Capri here. I felt like that Capri ink really matched well. And I apologize that it's not great as far as being on screen there. And then there's a few little drawings on that stamp set as well, and this is the 3 dots, and so I use those for the middle of the flowers. And again, that just creates a little bit of a finished look. So because I used the Capri ink, I'm just going to use it as a mat as well. So of course we have our papers that match our inks perfectly. So this is the Capri cardstock. So I'm just adding some adhesive there, and then I'm popping it on the card base. You always want to make sure that the card opens in the right direction before you pop that on there. It just ends up being a lot nicer. Now for this one, I am adding Celebrate on it. And you'll see when I'm finished with this that I've gone all the way around the edge with the Celebrate. And I've used some Post-it notes on the corners so that I can stamp half the word on one side or a part of the word on one side, cover it up, and then stamp the other side. And it allows me to get the whole word all the way around the corner. So I think it creates kind of a cool effect on this one. So I've used the Wildberry ink, and then I use the green apple. I think those colors go really well with the Ballerina, Dazzle, and Sage on my card. And at the very end here, I've got a little bit of space left over. So I do first generation and then second generation, and just create a little bit more interest with the stamp. Now in this corner, I had a little bit of a boo-boo where I got an extra letter that I didn't want. So I'm just using that Dazzle liquid pearl to just cover that up. And it adds a nice little dimension there. And then I just go in and I add 5 dots in the middle of each of these flowers. Again, just to add a little more dimension and just to finish those flowers off. So here is the same process done on the black. And what I've done for the sentiment here is I've used Versamark ink and then used our white heat embossing powder and heat emboss that. Now for this one, I'm going to use two colors and create the green first and then the pink on the top. So when I lift this up, you'll be able to see that there's pink at the top of that and then green at the bottom. So you can add, two or more colors to the stamps as well to create a little bit more interest and match whatever you're using. Here I'm using the bright pink shades TriBlend marker, and I'm just freehanding the line around the edge. And then I'm adding that Lots of Love stamp with our Wildberry. And here this is kind of out of sequence actually, but I've gone back in to show you again the dotting of the leaves to complete this particular card. And I think it's pretty cool. I think it is very interesting the way that it's coming together. And then you can add your sentiment, of course, as well. You want to let that dry, of course, before you add your sentiment. So here's just a collection of the various ones that I've done. And so just a little bit of a close-up of each one. So you can see the layering there. You can see how I went around the outside of that one for some interest. And I think they're all a whole lot of fun. I hope this inspires you to try some different techniques with this set. I think it is just absolutely, I absolutely love this set. I think you can just play and play and play and create. So again, at the end of my video here, I will list the products that I used and I'll provide a link to my website. So hopefully you'll check that out. Here's the one that I did with texture paste and the orange distress oxide. And this one I used a slimline card, and you'll see that I sort of layered over top as well to create a little bit more dimension and interest. So again, there's the grouping. So just look at all the different ways that we can use that. Again, my name is Sandy Zimmer, and I'm a Close to My Heart maker from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And I'd really appreciate it if you visited my website and did some purchasing. Thank you. Please check out the other Twisted Sisters videos listed in the description below.